Liberals are racist. That's it. That's the video.
That's all, folks.
That literally could be the whole video, but let's have some fun here. After Trump won the election, liberals started to blame minorities like they always do.
They're looking at Florida, hoping that Latino voters, especially female, come through for them as a viable path to blame for all of their party's shortcomings. But the night is young. Plenty of groups are still out there. You have young voters, old voters, Asian voters, all still in play. Muslims, Cubans, certainly the list goes on. And some minority will be to blame tonight. The only thing we really know for sure at this point is that no matter what happens, it will not be my fault. And I didn't vote.
These racist tweets, Reddit posts, TikToks, etc. are from a wide range of people. Some accounts are like random Reddit libs having meltdowns. Many are from verified real people with large followings. Others are accounts with a few thousand followers, but the posts have been seen tens of thousands of times or even millions of times. And others are just weird racist moms screaming into the void. Unfortunately, a lot of the hate is from other minorities as well. Minorities are divided again, and it's sad to see.
Most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members, whether that be their parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members. You can't be that innocent if you raised a Latino for Trump. This is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You should be happy. Let me see that smile. But there you have it, guys. Once again, there is that number. You know what to do.
I'm honestly a little surprised how many of these are from non-anonymous accounts. The whole narrative that Trump getting elected allows racists to be more open is definitely true. That happened the first time as well. I'm just a little surprised how it manifested so heavily on liberals this time around. The before mentioned cross-minority tensions and hatred are pretty shameful and are following the same playbook of colonial times. Inter-minority divisions were often exploited by colonizers to weaken resistance and maintain control, as tensions between groups diverted attention away from the colonizers' oppressive systems. The colonizers of old were so good at that they even turned the same ethnicities against each other for trivial reasons such as caste, amongst other things.
And if we don't talk about it, it can resemble the very institutions that we try to take down. And in colonization, what people don't realize and why white supremacy, honestly, they were in their bag when they, honestly,
divide and conquer between,
they did it so well, and it's persisted for so long, and it's so strong right now. And it will endure even if you think it's not. Absolutely amazing levels of white supremacy. Probably one of the best inventions. Getting the minorities to kill themselves or to kill each other and kill themselves. Like, racism didn't die when Obama was elected, and colonialism didn't die when we got independence. They're the same thing. It just had a funeral. It didn't die.
It was transfer of ownership with a payment plan. From Britain to America with a payment plan. That's exactly what it is.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. That's a beautiful way of putting it.
They were like the Michael Jordans of racism.
He gives to Jordan. Jordan to the circle, puts the shot in the air. Good! The game's over, and the Bulls have won.
I tried my best to include a lot of real people, like this woman who felt the need to lecture me about introspection 5 minutes after replying to another Pakistani about how liberals are exhibiting racist behavior, or these other people. I'm sure there are some trolls in there, but a lot of these are real liberals with online history for years. I do not feel bad sharing their accounts at all, and initially blurred stuff, but honestly, like they keep saying in these tweets, you get the consequences of your actions and all that liberal holier-than-thou garbage. I actually started making this video a year ago because liberals have been openly Islamophobic since October 7th, and if one Muslim American would say something like, I don't feel comfortable voting for Biden as he bombs kids, people lost their mind and liberals showed extreme amounts of racism. So a few of these are dated 2023 or early 2024. Most of the interviews I had with people about this subject are from early 2024 as well.
And the message by the liberals has been horrific. I mean, it really showed some of the insincerity. And frankly, people are not going to like this, but I found a lot in common with some of the diehard Trump supporters and diehard Biden supporters. I mean, it was just racist. It was nasty. It was white supremacist leaning. I mean, basically, a lot of these guys came out, did ugly, personal, unfounded attacks. A lot of them came out and said, "Well, we hope Trump, deports you, and we'll be laughing and celebrating." Like they're just run by such hatred and almost like cult-like approach on things, as opposed to taking a moment and thinking, like, why is this community that has been heavily targeted by Trump now abandoning Biden? Is it because what they're witnessing is just so horrific that they can no longer have good conscience to vote for Biden again, even if it means someone may be elected that may have worse domestic policies? Why would we be willing to do that unless the foreign policies enabled by Biden are just so horrific? And they need to understand that this is the result of us witnessing the loved ones, the children of our friends and family members killed in cold blood by U.S. weapons. How can we vote for the man that's allowing this to happen? The level of hate, I mean, that we've gotten for taking this position has been frankly unprecedented from the liberals and the Democrats. I mean, it's people many of whom we considered to be allies, to be considered friends, and the level of nastiness that we've seen. You don't take this position for clout, for fame, for anything. I mean, in fact, I mean, it's been ugly. It's been ugly, but at the same time, so what? Okay, people are going to mock us. People are going to attack us. People are going to express their hatred towards us. People in Gaza are literally losing their entire families. So for us to take an unpopular position, we'll do it. Whatever price we have to pay in terms of hate, it's nothing. So it's easy to take this position, and it's sad because it's sad to see you losing people you consider allies. It's sad to see the same people who maybe protested against Trump's Muslim ban now laughing at you and saying, "Well, I can't wait for Trump to deport you." Clearly, they have no humanity in them. Nor were they ever sincere in their support. Sometimes I question, was it really about standing with us, or was it more about opposing Trump? I don't want people to stand with us to oppose a political candidate. I want them to stand with us because they are morally and spiritually inclined to do so. And when they were willing to stand with us to protest against the travel ban, but they're not going to stand with us to stop to demand Israel stop bombing 20,000 civilians and counting, it shows that they lack a moral compass. So God is just showing us where people stand, and whatever price we have to pay politically, socially, it's well worth it, because it's nothing compared to the hell that the people of Palestine are facing right now.
If there's anything that I learned from like everything that's been going online, is it's really that a lot of Democrats truly never cared about our community. Again, when I go and I post about the genocide that's happening, and they tell me, but what about Trump? What about the Muslim ban? It's not even like they're even like, they're even like saddened, or they're even like, hurt. That even, I was telling somebody, it's like Biden doesn't even care. Like, he comes out and says these things, and it's just like, yeah, like, they're not gonna, like, I don't need the community. And I was talking to a friend earlier today, and we were driving, and he said, that's it. They don't need us. They used our community. They shit on us, and they left. And it's true that, they come, they use our community, and they go away. But again, if there's any time for the Arab community, the Muslim community, or any community to tell Democrats and to tell Biden no more, it's right now in the 2024 election. I actually said this the other day. Democrats cannot come back to us after the election and tell us you're the reason why we have Trump.
They will.
Biden is the reason why we're going to have another 4 years of Trump.
I agree.
The signs of liberals being racist were there the whole time for years. At least now, post-election, I expected this, but somehow liberals still exceeded my expectations. I've had conversations before with other minorities talking about how liberals are arguably more racist than conservatives, because at least with some conservatives, you both know what's up from the jump, whereas liberals sneak their way into your life and then blow up on you in racist tirades when inconvenienced.
Ah, shit, controller dog. You passed that charger?
Yeah, it's just over there. You can just grab it.
Yeah, sure. No problem. This dirty towelhead motherfucker. Osama bin Laden, uncle. Osama bin Laden, uncle. These dirty camel ride fucking Arab bastards. These fucking Indian Gandhi motherfuckers always doing some bullshit. Towelhead, camel ride, sand dune, buggy bullshit. Man, what the fuck is going on? These bullshits.
A personal story. I sell cars. I live in a red state, a state a lot of people consider very conservative, Missouri. But I live in like a blue city, in a red state, Kansas City. Now, Kansas City is blue mostly because we got a lot of black people, a lot of Latinos, all this stuff. There are a lot of white liberals as well. and this is anecdotal, as someone who sold cars, someone who's been in some of the most conservative areas, I've been around rednecks, the kind of people that will generally make us uncomfortable, right? I've experienced more racism in my life by white liberals than white conservatives. Hell, there are a lot of times when I sold cars when I be with the redneck, where there's almost like an agreement. Like long we be civil, casual to each other. We know we don't really like each other, but long like there's like this agreement that we do. Are the most disrespectful. Like they the way they treat customer service workers, the way they treat people that they view lesser than them. And when I say this to white liberals, their mind blow. But when I say this to other black people, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, here's the thing. Any person with the IQ of a chimp.
Chimpanzees are actually one of the smartest animals.
Can I not go 5 seconds without some white guy correcting me on what I can and can't say? Alright, anyway. I mean, yeah, chimps are pretty smart. So, okay, anyone with the IQ of a jellyfish.
Good job, soldier.
Okay, yeah, jellyfish. Anyone with the IQ of a jellyfish would not say these things online. And honestly, most normal people probably don't have such a strong desire to go and point fingers at others in such a racist demeanor. But it is important to understand that even if you're not going to publicly comment on this video and call me some slur, you must address the internalized racism that you may be feeling. You must also see how that manifests and how it affects minorities around you. If you see the election results and you are blaming a minority group, it doesn't inherently mean that you are a Nazi or something like that. If you see that Latino voters voted for Trump or Arab Americans voted for Jill Stein or Trump in some district, and you're feeling anger and it's pointed towards those minorities as a natural response, you probably should address that and understand why it's happening. And it doesn't mean you're necessarily the worst person in the world or anything like that, but you should understand that that is a dangerous thing that naturally is occurring in you, and you should try your best to either limit it or eradicate it entirely. This is a more complicated conversation than I'm equipped to deal with, but it's important to understand that just because you're not saying slurs does not mean that you shouldn't address the prejudice and racism that you feel when certain things don't go how you expect or your way, or things that you disagree with entirely. I'm not here to send some meaningless kindergarten message that liberals are used to, saying racism is bad, guys, no more.
Hey guys, this is why I think racism is bad. If you're not racist, you probably have a lot of friends, or even black friends or Mexican friends, because you're not racist. But if you're racist, you can only have white friends, so the people who aren't racist have more friends. Number 2, if you're racist, it's not good because it would make the black people, the other people, sad. Number 3, we're all the same on the inside except for girls because they're not the same as boys.
Racism is real. It exists, and it is manifested in different ways under different circumstances. Saying, "I hope Trump deports you," is obviously racist rhetoric, but so is dismissing any critiques of the Biden administration by telling someone Trump is against your people even before he wins. Dismissing minorities' concerns because the other guy is worse, in general, is concerning behavior, and rather than pressuring your own party and government, instead pressuring those minorities that have concerns with threats is very concerning as well, and probably has racist motivations behind it, even if subconsciously. Tokenizing support, shifting blame onto minorities, invalidating their lived experiences, maintaining systemic power imbalances, and dismissing their concerns rather than addressing them is more generally what I'm referring to when I describe these actions. There are 2 types of racism here: overt racism and covert racism. You know, overt is the kind where someone screams slurs or marches with a swastika. That's overt racism, and it's easy to spot and call out. The bigger conversation is about covert racism, the kind that hides in plain sight, embedded in everyday interactions, policies, and systems. Covert racism is subtle, insidious, and often disguised as well-meaning behavior or represented as neutral systems. It thrives in plausible deniability. People saying, "I'm not racist, but," or "I would never say something racist," or "I would never mean it like that." Also, a lot of times it's not even what people say, it's just how they act towards others of different race. It's racism that masks itself as politeness, concern, or logic while still perpetuating harm. And because it's harder to see and call out, it can be even more damaging. Personally, it is the type of racism I dislike the most. There's a few examples of it. Tokenism is one example.
Token Black Production.
It's when someone includes a person of color to appear diverse, but their inclusion is superficial. You see this all the time. They're not there to contribute meaningfully, they're there to make someone else look progressive, or the movement look progressive, by just being the token. That's covert racism at work. It looks like progress, but reinforces the same structures of inequality, perhaps even more effectively. There's also the white savior complex, where people position themselves as heroes or rescuers of minorities, as if those communities are incapable of advocating for themselves. Instead of empowering minorities, it centers the white person's role as the helper, while subtly maintaining the same power imbalances. This is more so with white people towards minority, but as you saw, this liberal versus Muslims and Latinos, that was more the colonial era inter-minority and inter-ethnicity infighting, or you can just say cross-race fighting. With the white savior complex, you do see that projected onto the Latinos in this election, that you know better than them, or you can't wait to see the look on their face when they're deported. Another example of covert racism is dismissing minorities' concerns by saying things like, but the other guy is worse. This type of covert racism shifts blame away from the party and the system and systemic issues as a whole, and places it on the minorities raising the concerns, as though their struggles are inconvenient. Instead of addressing the issues, it silences valid critiques. So, shifting blame and scapegoating minorities, like in this case, liberals blaming Latinos, black men, or Arabs for electoral losses rather than reflecting on their own failures. This isn't just wrong, it's overt and covert racism working together. Covert racism is dangerous because it's normalized. It hides behind politeness, behind laws, behind hashtags. That's why it's so pervasive in liberal spaces. It allows people to think they're innocent while actively perpetuating harm. When liberals tokenize minorities, dismiss their concerns, or shift blame, they're engaging in covert racism. It's racism that wears a mask, and when those masks slip, that's when you get overt moments of racism, like the tweets and memes and all these kind of things. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about asking white people to apologize for slavery or asking them if they regret the war in Iraq. Honestly, that kind of stuff is weird and even racist in its own way. It turns racism into this awkward, performative guilt trip instead of focusing on the real issue. That is one of my other least favorite forms of racism, when liberals tend to apologize over and over again, or make race a factor way more than it is.
Dude, I'm really sorry, man.
About what, man?
What we did to you guys over in Afghanistan.
Oh, I'm Pakistani.
It's fucked up, okay?
Oh.
It's fucked. The Taliban, man, they had some good shit. Those were the boys, right? And we had to go and fuck it all up. Yeah, the Taliban, man, they seem cool. They seem like chill guys. Like you'd want to kick it with them, you know, if they were over here.
The point here isn't to get white people to live in fear of being called racist. That is the worst. It's to recognize that everyone, including you, me, and most progressive liberals out there, have racist tendencies. Knowing that doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you human. What is dangerous is denying it, ignoring it, or, again worse, overcompensating in a way that makes everything about you instead of the people being harmed. The goal here isn't to create a hierarchy of guilt. That is just cringeworthy. It's to get people to understand the harm they perpetuate, even unintentionally, and start fixing that. So when I say liberals are racist, I'm talking about both kinds, covert and overt racism. Liberals often lead into the covert kind, but as we've seen, when they're pushed, the overt stuff comes out. But it's okay. In some cases, it's natural. Step one is understanding and recognizing what you're feeling. Understanding and recognizing the racism that is being projected, whether subconsciously, internally, or externally. Liberals freak out when evolutionary biology is mentioned, but the truth is we as humans are a tribalistic species to some extent. Racism, prejudice, and discrimination exists and always will in some shape or form. Hiding it and then exhibiting extreme behaviors is not healthy for any of us. I'm racist, you're racist, we're all racist. However, evolutionary biology is not the sole reason some groups are treated as expendable. While tribal tendencies may play a part, this dynamic is also deeply rooted in historical, cultural, and psychological factors that dehumanize certain populations and justify their mistreatment. Historically, colonialism established the framework for viewing certain groups as expendable. Colonizers viewed indigenous people and other populations as barriers to progress, resources to exploit, or obstacles to remove. Entire communities were displaced, enslaved, or eradicated to expand territory and power, all justified by narratives of racial and cultural superiority. These ideologies didn't vanish. They became embedded in society societal institutions and continue to rationalize treating some groups as less valuable or even disposable. Culturally, the idea that some groups are expendable is perpetuated through stereotypes that frame them as threats or burdens. In the US, Mexicans are often stereotyped as illegals whose labor is welcome, but whose humanity is denied. Even people that try to grant humanity along with the welcoming of labor still fail to think of Mexicans as outside of that box in general. This is the classic, who's gonna clean your toilets and mow your lawn?
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always
but
they
Latinos are not only the only people
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
He said the thing! He said the thing!
Clip it, chat. Clip it.
Muslims are painted as perpetual outsiders or security threats or terrorists. These depictions justify policies and actions that treat their lives and well-being as less valuable. This was especially true in post-9/11 America, where the United States had to speed up these narratives and implement these narratives into society in order to justify the wrongdoings abroad with the wars, and even domestically with things like the Patriot Act. Psychologically speaking, in-group and out-group biases exacerbate this problem by fostering a sense that others are less deserving of empathy or rights, kind of an us versus them mentality. When this is reinforced by systemic structures and media plays a big part here. This leads to the dehumanization of entire communities. If you see post 9/11 how the media treated Muslims abroad and domestically, and even now with what's happening in Palestine, the coverage from mainstream media and how systemically it is a problem, it becomes very clear that the dehumanization has a lot to do with the media. It becomes easier to justify their exploitation, exclusion, or even violence against them, as their suffering is reframed as inevitable or inconsequential. At the very best, is viewed as not equal. Viewing certain races or groups as expendable is a deeply ingrained issue. The binary view of minorities as either useful or worthless needs to be dismantled and replaced with a more equitable and fair perspective. Assuming just because you are a kind-hearted liberal that you escape these tendencies is foolish. I'm subject to these as well. We all are. Recognizing that and these patterns is the first step. A few ending notes on the whole situation. First, those who are saying these obscene things online and in person were never the allies they claimed to be in the first place. I'm always a fan of people outing themselves like this, and it reveals the mask that racist liberals hide under. The saying goes that I'd rather have an honest enemy than a dishonest friend, and it's true. People that are even capable of saying things like, I hope Trump turns Gaza into a parking lot, might be a little too far off the deep end for any of us to recover. Evolutionary biology aside, people don't naturally desire to divide, and the people above make it necessary, natural, and expected for division to occur. Don't blame people too much. Blame systems. Second, no matter what, if the party doesn't perform, their attack dog's job is to blame everyone and not show flaws and weaknesses within the party. Blame the party for going too left. Blame Latinos and Arabs for being racist. Blame black men for being sexist. Don't reflect on adding the Cheneys, who even the Republicans would be disgusted by, to your campaign. Don't reflect on rhetoric like your candidate saying we want the most lethal military, all her gun and border talk, adding a Republican to her cabinet, and anything else to pander to an imaginary base of suburban white Republicans that for some reason Dem strategists thought they could win. It's probably the dumbest strategy of all time.
I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world.
Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
I would.
I have a Glock.
Or maybe, just maybe, supporting a genocide didn't help your party at all. The mainstream media is also perpetuating racism like it's their job.
It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. A lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of
with other Hispanics. You've got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men.
Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that.
Also Latino men who, despite the utter disrespect shown by Trump and his promise to deport some of your mixed status families, most of them voted in a 55% majority to make the deportations happen. Y'all voted with Stephen Miller and David Duke and against your own sisters and chose Kamala Harris with 60% of their votes. So you own everything that happens to your mixed status families and to your wives, sisters, and abuelas from here on in.
So let me get this straight. Latinos are racist, black men are sexist, and Arabs and Muslims are both. And all three groups are super dumb. I like it, let's go with that. That sounds like a great strategy to win elections. The party's completely at fault. And blaming imaginary voters and minorities is absolutely brain-dead liberal behavior, and you should be ashamed of yourself if this is you. If this is you, you are a donkey. If you, for instance, blame Muslim voters for Trump winning, ignoring what Biden has already done there, you are part of the problem. Third, maybe liberals, instead of being completely shocked that certain minorities stayed home or voted for Trump, maybe talk to a few people who aren't white once in a while, for God's sake. I mean, for the love of God, man, I've been saying for a year, and trying to tell liberals for a year, that if you don't change course somehow, you are screwed. All I was told every time by liberals was, shut the fuck up, you are electing Trump, get back on your camel, sand monkey. No, but seriously, acting like randomly the Arabs in Dearborn, Michigan came out to spite Democrats for no reason on election day is liberal brain rot fantasy. They have been begging Democrats to listen and saying exactly what they were going to do if they don't for over a year. I was there in Dearborn in January and it was very clear what was going to happen. They were very open about the exact numbers and predictions of what was going to happen as well. They honestly were even a little bit too lenient with the Democrats in my opinion. If there was literally an inch of movement for Palestine from the Democrats, they were ready to vote blue. But a real inch of movement, not fake ceasefire tirelessly talks or 30-day arms embargo promises. By the way, what happened to both of those? Are those still happening or were those just meaningless promises again? Instead, for a year, the Democrats told the Arabs in Michigan, go to hell. Michigan was so predictable I can't even explain it to you. But instead of even listening for 5 seconds, Democrats, being racist as usual, said, what about Trump? And told Arabs, go f*** yourself. At least I can say I told you so, but the problem is it's not like liberals will learn anyway. Even talking to a liberal at this time is like going to a damn KKK rally. Liberals are exhibiting racist behavior. This is not like a new thing. And another thing, the defense that the Republicans are more racist, I don't want to hear it. I don't even understand what the point is. Thanks for that. I needed to hear that. I was unaware. Another thing I keep hearing liberals say is that they can't imagine how people can vote for a felon and someone charged with this many crimes and all that. You guys voted for an administration conducting a genocide. It shouldn't be hard to understand. Some reflection, please. It doesn't mean either voter is wrong. It just means you should take time and think about things more and think about them before you speak. Literally over 70 million people voted for the guy. You're not individually smarter or morally a better person than each and every one of them. It's just not the case. Neither am I. Blame the party, not the voters. However, if the voters are being racist, shaming them publicly is what I personally like to do. Listen, a little racism is fine and sometimes even funny, like when that one person was talking about F Cinco de Mayo or the stuff about camels and curry and all that. But these liberals are just taking it too far. These are the same people that thought Tony Hinchcliffe making a joke about Puerto Rico at a Trump rally was going to cost Trump the election. My God, man. Take time to reflect. Have some introspection on how you guys can lose to Donald Trump twice. Maybe whatever you are doing isn't working. Lecturing people about racism while being racist yourself is great. Keep doing that, guys. We all love it.
He's literally doing that right now.
I'm not too sure what I learned from all of this. Why people are racist as hell when minorities don't cooperate. We knew that. Minorities get a little racist against each other when the system exploits that. We knew that as well. Maybe liberals will learn that Republicans aren't the only racists in town or something. I don't know. All I know is we're all a little racist, and it's fine. I mean, I literally didn't vote for Kamala because she's Indian. I'm kidding. Relax, non-racist white liberal. It was just a joke. Please don't burst in the room and lecture me on how not to be racist or whatever. Jeez.
Man, did I just hear you say you didn't vote for Kamala Harris?
How'd you get in my house?
Don't you realize what you've done? They already banned you guys. Now they're gonna kick you out of the country. Kick you out of the country. You're hurting immigrants. You're literally hurting immigrants. You're hurting... Why'd you make me do this, man? Why do you keep making me do this, man? It's so fucked up, man. You're ruining this country. You're ruining this fucking country. An absent vote is a vote for Trump. An absent vote is a vote for Trump. Blue no matter who. Blue no matter who. Blue no matter who. They're gonna kill you, man. You don't realize that they're gonna kill you? They're gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna kill you. It's not safe, man. Blue no matter who, man. Blue no matter who. No one's gonna believe you, man. No one's gonna fucking believe you. Murder, suicide, just suicide. Good riddance, bro. You're making this country less safe, man. One less vote for Trump. One less vote for Trump right here.
It's time to be the hero.